Peter Meilleur, and on behalf of my brother and 4 sisters, we are all here to celebrate and honor our mother and father's 50 years of marriage and 50 years in the hotel business. This event will be narrated by Gail Gavan, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the train ride from Ottawa to this wonderful and glorious event.
They worked hard in those early days, felling trees and herding them down the flume. And they played hard, too, in places where the food was plentiful, the music impromptu, and the company fast but faithful. The logging trade surrounding Chapeau is all but gone. Only one towering monument remains, Fred Meilleur, the giant of a man who keeps our frontier past alive. Welcome to a place untouched by time. Welcome to Fred's Place. Fred's is the place we belong.
There's a lonely island along a broken coastline where a single light shines into the night, and there's an only family, the sole survivors, barely holding on to a dying life. Will they come again to this lonely island, or will they stay away from their old homeland? Will they come again to this lonely island, across the road and way to where it all began? Not so long ago, on this lonely island, it was easy to make and understand, but troubled winds one day came blowing. Will they come again to this lonely island, or will they stay away from their old homelands? Will they come again to this lonely island, across the rolling waves to where it all began? Buses and trains will carry you far away, down roads and tracks neath skies so blue. But memories will always linger, taking you back to the things you knew. There's a lonely island along a broken coastline where a single light shines into the night, and there's an only family, the sole survivors, barely holding on to a dying life. to this lonely island? Or will they stay away from their old homeland? Will they come again to this lonely island? Across the rolling waves to where it all began. Across the rolling waves to where it all began. There's a lonely island along a broken coastline, where a single light shines into the night. And there's an only family, the sole survivors. Barely.
Surrounded by the rolling waters of the Ottawa River, Calumet Island, a stone's throw away from Pembroke, is made up of 6 tiny townships. Under the shiny bell tower of St. Alphonsus Church is the village of Chapeau, home of Fred Meilleur's Chapeau Hotel. My uncle, Fred Meilleur, in 1993 is going to turn 70 years old, be 50 years married, and 52 years at the Fred Meilleur Chapeau Hotel. The community of Chapeau was going to honor him in a tribute, a roast, on September the 11th. And I wondered how I could pay tribute to him in my own way. So I wrote a song about Fred and his wonderful wife, Helen that he met here in Chapeau in 1943. We are in St. Alphonsus Church right now, where they said I do. And through this song, you'll hear through the first verse a little bit about the history of Fred and Helen and how they started this thing called Fred's Hotel. He came with his family from the shirt at Chapeau in 1942. His eye caught the smile of young Helen Herding. 'Twas there that they said I do. They started a venture to detail to mention a place that you all know well. Now it's done its part as a Canadian landmark, Fred Meilleur's Chapeau Hotel. Oh, we'll go to Fred's and we'll fill our heads with music and stories and songs. Oh, we'll make lots of noise for the old Chapeau boys. Fred's is the place we belong. Fred's isn't the only hotel in the community, but it's the one that people have taken to heart.
I've been coming to Chapeau since I was about 3 or 4 years old, which is about 35 years ago now. My great aunt and great uncle owned the hotel right across the street from Fred's Keown's Hotel. And even back then, they were fighting a losing battle with Fred's across the street, because Fred's has been an institution for as long as I can remember. And Chapeau was always a place where seemed to attract the colorful. And there was a whole bunch of brothers and sisters. I remember there was Batiste and Batak, 2 brothers and 2 sisters named Pyrex and Pyrene. And they were either found at Keown's Hotel or over at Fred's Hotel. And most people gravitated over to Fred's Hotel around 6 o'clock for the big dinner.
On the surface, Fred's bar is as straightforward as his first customers, people who were sized up for the rigors of the bush. But within these walls, there's a constant opportunity to make new acquaintances, renew old ties, raise a glass to the days of old. And most importantly, spend time with family. While that master hotelier Fred Meilleur fusses over your every whim with the help of son Rolly, who will someday be famous for the best bar trick in the Ottawa Valley. We'll come back to that trick a little later.
Well, Fred's, apart from being a bar, is in many ways the social center of the community. This is where you meet visitors. This is where you talk and visit with your friends. This is the center of the community in many ways, and Fred, I think in his own inimitable fashion, represents hospitality in every sense of the word. The Ottawa Valley hospitality, Pontiac County hospitality, and it is that kind of reputation that he has developed over many years of service to his customers and service to the community at large.
In the last...
It's a service that includes good food, good music, and good hospitality. Fred and his sisters worked for their father until he acquired the hotel from his father in 1943. Those early years were hectic. Already Fred had the responsibility of the family business, and he was barely 20 years old. Fortunately, there'd be Helen to help him out. A noted historian, Fred remembers those early days on the island.
The island was very busy because we had only 3 hotels on the island, and it corresponded for Sheenborough, Chichester, Nicoban, Waltham, and there's 2 hotels in Chapeau, the Keown Hotel in here. And there was an hotel that deserted us, but it was closed for 5 years. It was closed from 1940 to 1945, and then Mrs. Sikorsky took over. But most of the people drank here because you couldn't get back to Pembroke at night. There was no ferry. So if you got over here and you got a half cut, you couldn't go back till the next day.
He just zings them off. He has a quip about everything. But one of the things that's always amazed me about Fred is that you could go in there in 1978 and you could go back in 1992, and Fred would say, "Yep, I remember you were back here in 1978. You were sitting over in that corner wearing a yellow shirt." And he's right. He has an incredible memory for people. So everybody that walks in the door, once they've been in there once, the next time they'll go back, they're an old friend.
This is Adelaar Gaillon. He was my first customer that I ever sold a pint of beer to. He came from the north with some money in 1941. They had money. He brought 5 cases of quartz Black Horse. He went to Nicoban, and about an hour or so, after 2 hours, they came back on a bet that he could come to Chapeau and back in Nicoban in 45 minutes with P.J. Denny. The horse name was Norm.
And if you're wondering how a man his age retains all that information,
I had the first computer on the island.
Fred's sense of humor and sense of hospitality are inseparable. In fact, every new customer gets a tour of the many quirky treasures Fred keeps in the bar, including a fish from the coldest spot in Canada and a rare jackalope from Montana. Fred always ends the tour with a privileged peek at an unusual species of Canadian fauna, the silver beaver.
Have you ever seen any? 2 shiny Canadian beavers.
It's a fast one Fred celebrates with a ring of his bell. Fred explains how the joke first began.
Okay, 1956, 2 roads engineer for the Quebec government came here from the bridge, and it was raining in October, and they said, "Fred, we have 2 shiny beavers, would you like to have them?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Put on your raincoat, get a quart of milk in a dish, and we'll go in the backyard." So we went in the backyard, and he put down the window, and there's the guy stuck his hand and showed me 2 shiny Canadian beavers. So ever since that, I brought in a lot of suckers that came and seen my beavers in the fridge, which I'm politer than them, it's not raining.
What did you expect? After all, the Ottawa Valley's been the land of tall tales since the days of Big Joe Mufferaw, and over the years, Fred's hotel has spawned more stories than Mark Twain's Missouri.
We used to bring horses into the saloon years ago, and it was a group of Americans up from Pennsylvania, and they were enjoying themselves. They were supposed to be fishing or hunting or whatnot. And one lad got up in the morning and came up to the bar.